Mr. Speaker, according to SSNIT data, there is a further worrying trend that just a few Ghanaians aged above 60 are getting pension benefit from SSNIT. In fact, only about 230,000 people, representing just 10% of Ghanaians above the age of 60, receive monthly pension, SSNIT pension. This means that most of our senior citizens have to stay in active service long after they've turned 60 or rely on family members for financial support. If this situation is not addressed, Mr. Speaker, then government will have to pay more and more allowances to the aged through monthly stipends from the Livelihood Empowerment Against Poverty, that is the LEAP, and other poverty alleviation programs. Furthermore, Mr. Speaker, out of those receiving pension benefits from SSNIT, more than half, that is about 53% of the 230,000 pensioners on the SSNIT payroll are currently receiving less than 1,000 Ghana cedis per month, with some receiving as low as 300 Ghana cedis a month, which is a minimum. This is clearly not adequate in the current climate of high cost of living for people who have toiled for several years of their lives for this country. It is woefully inadequate. In 2021, Mr. Speaker, SSNIT made a benefit payment of about 3.6 billion Ghana cedis to retired workers and dependents of deceased members of their scheme. In the previous year, 2020, it paid out about 3.3 billion. Mr. Speaker, yet majority of those who are on retirement are on relatively low pension from SSNIT. Available data from SSNIT shows that currently over 80% of workers in Ghana contribute 275 cedis or less each month towards the pension with SSNIT. This means that they declare salaries of around 2,500 or less to SSNIT. Should these contributions remain unchanged, 80% of members of the scheme will receive pensions of less than 1,500. This simply means that if contributions of workers in active service do not significantly improve, then the reality of their pension payment may not be that different from those who are working today. It is therefore important for employers to ensure that their workers contribute to SSNIT on their right salaries and enable them to receive a meaningful pension when they retire, to have the financial independence that the scheme promised them. Mr. Speaker, in recent publication by SSNIT advertised that it's looking to sell off all of SSNIT-owned hotels to a strategic partner. These hotels are Labadi Beach Hotel, La Palm Beach Hotel, Elmina Beach Hotel, the Ridge Royal, Buzia, and Trust Lodge Hotel. SSNIT says it wants to develop these hotels into world-class standard. So it's seeking a capital injection from competent strategic investors with expertise in hotel management. But SSNIT itself is not willing to put any money into this project. Mr. Speaker, SSNIT has gone on further to say that it will reduce its exposure in unlisted equities from around 31% to just 4%. These are companies that SSNIT has shareholdings, but are not listed on the Ghana Stock Exchange. And they include these 6 hotels, including other real estate, businesses. What they are saying is that it is part of their long-term asset allocation policy of disposing of long-term assets with controlling interest in up to 6 years. These developments at SSNIT are quite worrying and will have a future consequences on pensions, and it must be of concern to all of us. These assets are the jewel in the crown of SSNIT portfolio of investment. Mr. Speaker, pension funds by nature have access to long-term capital, so they usually invest in long-term assets that other investment vehicles don't have the luxury of. This investment strategy affords the pension funds to increase retirement income over a long term, but failure to do so, Mr. Speaker, risks the danger of reducing retirement income. So Ghanaian workers will be getting less in retirement if SSNIT goes ahead with this policy of disposing long-term assets. Therefore, SSNIT asset allocation policy of reducing its long-term unlisted asset from 31% to 4% is a dangerous policy and can have a disastrous consequences that could spell doom for the SSNIT scheme. It will put the future of pension payment to retirees at risk and possibly collapse the scheme, as there are not enough workers working today as a result of unemployment to be able to contribute making this payment. Mr. Speaker, long-term projects, if well selected and well invested in, will yield the desired return needed to sustain pension payouts of our retired workers. The people who are working today are paying the bulk of pension benefit to those who have retired. But as people live longer, well into their old age, and less people are entering the formal workforce due to rising unemployment, the SSNIT current model will in the near future not be sustainable. SSNIT will therefore have to grow long-term assets faster than it is doing today. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, SSNIT should be discouraged from selling its long-term assets and be encouraged to invest in funds to revamp its long-term assets. Mr. Speaker, in fact, based on a result of valuation reviews done in 2014, 2017, and 2020 of the SSNIT scheme by an external actuary from the International Labour Organization, the scheme will not be financially sustainable in the foreseeable future. They said in their report, and I quote, "Considering applicable financing rules and the future demographic and economic environment in which the scheme operates, the current asset of SSNIT scheme, together with future contributions, will not be sufficient to pay all future benefits." Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, the National Pensions Regulatory Authority, which is the regulator of all pensions in this country, has done quite well with the new pension scheme. But quite frankly, it has been weak from inception when it comes to supervision of SSNIT. It should therefore be strengthened to provide its oversight responsibility in regulating and monitoring the operations of SSNIT and all other tiers of pension schemes to ensure effective administration, longevity of pensions in Ghana, and a good pension benefit for our people when they retire.